because it gave me the option to use my webcam,
Oh,
and
I
I
see.
was like, maybe I can get this to work. And I quickly tried to shuffle some things around. No, no,
No.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't make it work that fast. Maybe next episode I will try
Next
to arrange
episode.
things so I can do it. But right now it's
Yeah,
just a train wreck.
sure.
Like, I,
Yeah.
I think I just need to move to different. Like, I need to move my entire computer to a different place with better lighting and backgrounds. So,
Yeah. You need to purchase a studio in Dallas.
yeah, dude, like, over the years, my room has just slowly accumulated objects, and like half of them I think aren't even mine. Um,
Oh.
like there's a bunk bed in my room now. I used to sleep on like a normal bed, and we just had I think we had a bed from another room in the house.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, and my dad wanted to use that for a computer room, so he just took the bed and made a bunk bed in my
Oh
room.
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh
and
god.
so there's stuff literally like stacked to the ceiling on my bunk bed. Just boxes from
Wow.
college because I don't have anywhere else to put it. There's
Wow.
stuff packed underneath my normal bed to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Half the floor space is occupied by boxes. I
Oh
mean,
gosh.
I've got maybe I would say 15 feet of square footage that I can actually walk through in here.
That is crazy. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's
This
it's
is why we're
crazy that I have
doing
less floor space in my own room than I do at my college dormitory. But
yeah. This is why we're doing an audio only episode today. Hello everybody. This
hi,
is episode 8.
episode
And
8. This is a
and the
turning
first
point.
one, it
Yeah.
is a turning point. Can you tell people why?
It's because this is our first remote episode with each other. So Kadmiel's still down in Houston, in his apartment, and I'm way up in Dallas in my at my house right now, my dad's house. Um, and yeah, I think we're both recording on computer mics because we tried to set up fancier mics and then we busted both of them basically.
Yes.
But we
Yes.
we vow that next episode we will have working proper mics. Thank God.
Exactly. And it should be video this time.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
I'll also arrange so I can actually do video for that.
yes.
Uh,
And I guess like how does it feel to be back home? I don't know, like
dude,
especially in this context where like you're gonna be there for a very long time.
yeah. I mean, I was gonna tell you, I feel like a completely different person right now.
Wow.
But I don't know. It's I think I feel like a completely different person because I'm around different people. It's just
Okay.
such a huge and sudden shift in everything, like all of my surroundings. I don't think I've
Mhm.
really talked to many people from college since I headed out. I mean, Pedro sends me a text or two on Insta about
Mhm.
Ukraine or tanks or something like that.
As he
But
does. As he
yeah,
does.
yeah, as he is expected to. But um, yeah, I mean, I'm all of my sisters are here, which is incredibly unusual. I
Oh
don't.
really?
Yeah, like I think they've only been in the same place at the same time maybe twice in the past 5 years. And
Wait, so what is happening? Is this
yeah,
like
so the reason why is because my sister Katie, she lives in an apartment, McKinney-ish area with her husband. Annette, she used to be going to college at Austin, UT Austin, but she finished like just this past year.
Mhm.
So now she's setting up to get her first job. And then
Mhm.
Serena, she was working as a park ranger in Florida for like Yeah, there's a siren in
Florida?
the background. Yes,
Whoa.
yeah, she was working as a park ranger in Florida for, I think it's like, must have been at least 3 years, and then
Wow.
she quit that job and she came back here, and now she's trying to figure out what she's gonna do next because she doesn't really want to do that anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's really weird to have them all in the same
It,
place at the same time.
so it's
You
like in
know?
your family right now, it's a resetting time or something. Like everybody
Yes.
is going to a different phase.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like everyone has had it with something, and they're all restarting in some way, except maybe Katie and maybe my parents. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They
It's,
had their resetting moment like a year or two ago.
it's like a thing, like everybody has been doing their own thing this past year, and everybody come back like to the base or
Yeah.
like something to the homeland to just figure out the next move.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much. At least that's happening with 3 people. So out of our
Yes,
six-person family. So
yes. For those that just come to episode 8 without having yet listened to every other episode, Nick is taking a gap year. That's why we're making this allusion to resetting.
yeah, I mean, even if I wasn't taking a gap year, this is really relevant because
It,
I mean, a summer is a long time.
it is a very long time.
Yeah.
It is a very long time. So, like, I guess, like, you came back, what, like, I was gonna ask, like, before when you were here, we were talking about all the things you were gonna do during the summer and
Oh,
things.
like, is that going? Is that happening?
Yeah, no, like, even, not even if it's going, but more like, like, how is your perspective, like, concerning these plans? Like,
Yeah. So I'm feeling a lot better about all that because first off, I made a very refined plan for that. And the second
mm-hmm,
thing is I've actually executed it thus far. So I proved
cool.
to myself that I can actually do it. I have the discipline to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm,
But yeah, I made like the very first thing I did was I made just a week by week objectives kind of list. So I made
mm-hmm,
basically a giant checklist. It goes on for 3 pages. Um,
mm-hmm.
and it goes from May 15th, which is when I got it started. I got it started May 14th to July 2nd, and it's every single day is a checkbox. And
Yeah.
I basically said, okay, for each week, I want to focus on a different thing, like, redesigning my Bates boot 3D model, or, oh, go
Oh,
redesign the
yes.
chair, or go redesign Snapchat.
Yeah.
And then below that, for each week, I write down day by day, okay, what needs to happen to get to that point. So, okay, I need to do
Yeah.
model refinement, then I need to render the models, and yeah. So I've been following that so far for the Bates boot. That's my first task. But
Yes.
yeah, and then
Well,
also,
what?
second huge thing is I've been trying desperately to maintain a steady sleep schedule.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
for the past week I was fairly consistently uh waking up at 9 in the morning and going to bed at, I think, midnight.
Uh-huh.
Um and then one day threw that all out off kilter. Um and for the past, I think, 2 days I've been fighting back to reach 9 a.m. again. But
Yeah.
I think I'm doing okay.
Uh,
I think everything will be
uh,
all right. I'll stabilize the situation, but
yes.
yeah.
I was like, my question was also going into like what kind of, I guess, lifestyle, because you remember when you were in studio, like you were in college, you
Yeah.
have a plan, I go to Chick-fil-A, like it wasn't all working, it wasn't all studio, there were kind of a schedule, a
Yeah, there's a
itinerary.
routine, right?
Yes, a routine and like kind of building back a kind of routine in a world where you are not doing college
Yeah. You
right
know,
now.
I'll tell you this, there are a lot more people that want to do more fun things here as well than there were in college for me. Like, you know, gosh, like every weekend my dad is wanting to do some kind of exotic fun thing like, "Hey, look, I want to go sailing or I want to go hiking or something like that."
Mm-hmm.
Um and sometimes that really kind of kills my ability to get anything done.
Yeah.
Or like he's very happy to see me, but in another way that's not great because it means he wants to do a lot of like things with me that we wouldn't ordinarily do that are really like
Oh, catch up.
just really eventful. Yeah, like things that'll take up your entire day.
Yeah.
And then so if I'm trying to keep to this like work schedule or like hold myself to this work schedule, it really erodes my self discipline and everything.
Y-
I tell you,
Yes.
but
You know, like something when I went to see my family in Spain, something I noticed is that first of all, they got used to live without me.
yeah,
But second of all, I also got used to live without them. So like I'm at a point in my life where like I don't necessarily want to live with them anymore.
yeah,
Despite how
yeah,
much I love them. I'm just like I'm enjoying having my place
yeah,
and coming back. It is such a something I got used to it and I don't feel like I can go back
dude, I get
to a
that.
world where I can live with my parents, despite how much I miss them and love them. I
Yeah,
can't even live with my little brother.
yeah, I think I'm also in that place where it's like pretty much every season of life I've been uh except for maybe two, I've been sharing my living spaces with some people. And it's like
Hmm.
I am going to need pretty soon, I think, a living space where it's just me again.
Yeah, yeah.
That is so
It,
nice.
it is,
It's
and
so
I
much
don't know if
easier
it's
to
a
sort out your own
consequence.
affairs.
Yeah, is this something that's a consequence of just becoming an adult? You just
Yeah,
want to
absolutely.
be by yourself, or at least with someone that you have already decided I want to be with that person, like this kind of environment. No. Right now, the man I am right now, I'm telling you, next time I live with someone, it's a wife. I'm enjoying this too much. I cannot even
Yeah.
see myself living with someone I love right now. I'll just be at some point like first day, second day, fifth day, I'm like, what are you doing here? What are you still doing here?
I mean, let's see. If you're really poor, like things are just going really bad, would you consider living with someone? Like if you had to like you needed to get someone to split rent with you or something like that?
Yeah, then that's different. Yes,
Okay.
if
But
I'm
if
broke.
you all have the option, like
Yes, it's separate.
yeah. Okay. Cuz
I
like
will
if you make that
definitely.
like a hard rule, that can be a
Oh
challenge.
no, it's not a hard rule. It's just my wish.
Okay.
It's just something I want right now.
Mm.
I like being in my own thing and kind of deciding when I do things because that's the thing with when someone is like lives with you, as I've noticed, is that things get dirty faster.
Yes. Yeah.
So they need to be cleaned a little more often than usual.
Yeah.
Like I'm one person in a four-bedroom apartment right now, and I don't need to clean that as often as if four people were living here. Like I do my dishes, like my dishes is just for one person most of the time, so it's not a lot of dishes. Same thing with cleaning. I don't need to necessarily clean everything all at once because I'm not everywhere at once. So it's so convenient to be by yourself. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's a state of mind right now. I've also had a schedule,
Yeah, I
like
was
a
gonna ask,
consistent
like,
schedule.
what are your summer plans? Because we kind of went over mine a little bit, but
Yes.
just
So
like,
on
how
my
have you been
side,
doing with summer, conceptually?
I have not shut down the engine.
Yes.
So I'm at a place right now where I have recovered from sophomore year. I'm back on my game, and I've just decided that I wasn't really gonna shut down the engine this summer and
Yes.
more of like accomplishing things. So, but it's so hard because when studio is not around, it's extremely hard to get into a rhythm.
Yes, there's
Like,
nothing there to push you. There's no consequences for anything.
yes, yes. And I was telling my brother, like doing studio for me has been like being an athlete. Like you
Yes.
have to perform on a consistent basis every day, and you have to like make sure your body is able to perform every day. So even like in term of motivation, like you have to make sure your body is like ready. So what I've been doing is literally waking up and starting with a 4 minute cold shower.
Wow, that's kind of
Because
brutal. All
yes,
right.
it's kind of brutal, but I swear that's you when studio is around, that's kind of how I wake up.
Yeah, that's
Like
how it
I'm like,
feels,
oh
right?
yes, like this stress, like because it's all about stress.
Yeah.
Like I wake up, I'm like due date at 1 p.m. You have to eat, you have to finish your homework, you have to submit them. So it's all kind of stress that kind of start the engine already.
Yes.
But I don't
So
have it
you're
right now.
tricking, yeah, you're tricking yourself into feeling consequence, right?
Yes, yes. So I start with a 4 minute cold shower just to be like, ooh, okay, I'm alive. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And then I've been good at that to go to the gym and kind of like, usually I will walk to studio. I will do a lot of walking. I don't have a car, so
Mhm.
it's usually a lot of walking around.
Yeah.
uh, since I don't have that, I kind of need to make my body move because, like again, like the cold shower is good. From when you wake up, you feel soft. You literally, me, I want to go back to bed immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like
So I have to get yeah,
you are in your most comfortable state, right? Like
yes,
you honestly can't be more comfortable than you are when you're laying in bed in pajamas. I'm sorry.
yes,
There aren't a lot of places where that works.
yes. So I have to get my body going. So it's just 4 minutes of cold shower and 1 minute to 1 hour actually to the rec center.
Yeah.
So I just go, I do a little basketball and maybe some weight, and I
Yeah.
just come back and then I feel ready. Then I eat,
Yes.
and I'm like, okay, what is the plan? So usually I have it on my wall. I try to do three productive things. So I call productive like every goal of the day. Like even if it's like cooking a big meal or like meals for many days, it counts
Yeah.
as one productive thing. So right now I'm almost done with my portfolio. I have made a 7 page portfolio. So I want to do like a first short version and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna expand on it.
Hmm.
So it's more of like the small version that you put in a cold email and you just send it to a random person so they can like, glance at it and maybe give you feedback. I'm almost done with that.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm trying to go see my family. So it's a lot of paperwork that needs to happen in terms
Okay.
of being an international student and like I literally have to ask permission to leave the country. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that is kind of exciting though. Like feeling like you have a shot at doing that, and once it's all said and done, if you and you fought through the paperwork, and you're sitting on the
Yes.
plane going, I'll bet that's gonna feel really, really good. but
I
also kind of
guess.
scary because it means it's going to kill your rhythm.
Oh, it's definitely gonna kill my rhythm. I'm gonna put so much weight. Last time I saw my family, I expanded. I took 10 more than 10 pounds. Like no, definitely more than 10 pounds. I'm thinking more than 10 kilograms. So it's
Yes.
definitely a lot of pounds. I ate so much. And my mom was just feeding me like a goose, or like a duck, like a foie
Yeah.
gras.
See, I think that's a problem. Is like you're talking about you didn't shut off your engine. I'm trying to keep my engine running. Like it's not a matter of like whether I choose to shut it off exactly. It's more like please don't turn off. Like
Yes.
desperately trying to run this busted machine, and it's made so much harder by being here with the people that I'm around. Like you were saying,
Yes.
if you go back to your family in like Spain, it's going to kill your rhythm, right? And like for
Absolutely.
me, that already happened. Like
Yes.
I took an entire day just to like drive the 4 hours up here, and also like pack everything away. So there's already that mental shut off that happened where my mind was like, "We did it," and I have to go, no, no, we didn't do it, you know? And
Oh
now
gosh.
that I'm here, it's like, everyone wants to do everything with me because I'm back in town,
Yes.
and it's like,
Yes.
I don't want to say no,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
Like
do want
we
to say
missed you.
yeah. Yeah, it's
And it's a
hard for me to
summer.
say
What do
no.
you have to do?
Yeah. And yeah, like of course they don't understand kind of I think how I feel about not shutting off my engine. So
Yes.
it's just been a real struggle to keep that working. Also, again, it doesn't help that like my workspace now is just packed to the
Oh
brim
yes.
with
Oh my God.
miscellaneous items. Like when I was back at my dormitory, there was literally like three things on the wall that could possibly distract me, you know? And what, like, again, they're not even like usable things. Like, one was a General Motors poster, the other was an American flag, and the other was my work schedule. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the three things on the wall. Um, when I come here, it's like, oh my gosh, like, there's just so many things around me. I have so many books. Sometimes I forget how many books I collected over the years. But
Oh
like when
gosh.
I was a kid, I was a huge book collector with like just military books. Like someday I've
Oh.
got to show you my library because it's actually kind of scary.
I used to have books when I was younger too, like
Yeah.
encyclopedias. I loved encyclopedias, like big
Mm.
books about every little random fact about the world. I
Yeah.
had like, oh, that book. Let me translate it. It was called the Visual Encyclopedia of All Knowledge,
Mm.
and it was just like 300 pages, large book filled with images about anything, weather, food, the human body. Just every page is about a different subject, and they show you pictures and they tell you facts. And I loved that book. And
Gosh.
yeah, I still have knowledge from that book, and honestly, that's where I develop like my curiosity in general about the world.
See, that's funny because most of my books are also kind of encyclopedias by nature. Like I call them reference books a lot because literally I know a lot of them, like what's inside
Hmm.
them, and if you ask me to find you like information on the Sturmgeschütz 3 Ausführung G, I would know exactly where to find that. And I could probably find information on it for you in like five different books in my room,
Wow.
and flip to it within like a few minutes. But
Yeah.
like for example, there's literally a book on my shelf right now called The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Battleships and Cruisers. So
Oh my God.
like
That's
I
where.
have a bunch of encyclopedia type things. I have uh the Routledge Atlas of the Second World War. is on
What did you say?
is
Verudo what?
the Routledge Atlas of the Second World War is
Oh,
literally a foot from my
Verudalage
face right
Atlas.
now. Yeah,
Verudalage Atlas.
you
Wow,
yeah.
that's complicated.
No, it's actually really helpful because it's just a book full of maps. Maps about all kinds of things. Like, it has a map of the Atlantic that has every known U boat sinking on it. Like, every charted sinking of a U boat from like 43 to
Okay,
45 is on the map, you know?
okay. I have a question. Like,
Yeah.
how is this your parents giving you that book, or is this you asking them? Like, how did you get into that?
Uh
How did you get that deep?
no one gave me this stuff. I just wanted it. Like, I don't know what it was, but when ever since I was like 10 years old, I was like, I need to know more about this because it fascinated me.
Jeez.
And
See,
when I was a little kid in elementary school and they would take us to the school library, I would always check out the World War II books because
yeah,
I wanted to know more. I was voracious for that.
yeah. I think that was me. Me, it was more like on TV. There was National Geographic and Discovery Science.
Yeah.
Discovery Science was my favorite channel. They
Mm,
had like they have Stephen Hawking. They had like Neil deGrasse Tyson. They had series about the universe and like cosmos and all that, like space. I was just fascinated. Multiverse, black holes, white holes, all of these things. Like these are things that really fascinated me, and like when I was a kid, especially. And I mean,
mm,
nobody like kind of wired me to that. On National Geographic, they had this thing called Big, Bigger, Biggest, and they just
yes.
take any.
Yes.
You know that they take any
Yeah.
topic, whether it's a boat or like a car or like any sort of structure, and they go like the smallest to like the biggest one and how they work.
Yes. Yeah,
I
I
was
think those sense of scale ones are really fun to
yeah.
watch, you know?
Yo, I love like how do you call that in English? Port avion. Like the thing where like the battleship where like the planes land.
Oh, an aircraft carrier?
Yeah, aircraft carrier. That was one of my favorite episodes
Mm,
because I was always fascinated by something that's like self-sustained,
yes.
like creating a whole system where like you get everything you need from that system, and it's almost that. Like its energy, it has like a nuclear reactor, a small one that like powers the thing, and like they can go they can go in the sea for like months, and you just don't know, you don't hear about them, and they
Yeah.
just self sustain themselves, and it's so organized with people and stuff like that.
Oh, bud, you'd be
But
frightened how much I can prattle on about aircraft carriers.
I know, right? But I mean, you know what? There were also things. So that was me. Like this part of like being
Yeah.
fascinated by science. That's me. But
Well,
my
yeah,
parents got
you're
me.
big on scale, you know?
Yes, my
Like,
parents got me fascinated about books, fictional books. Though
mm,
that was something they induced in me. Like they always wanted a kid that would read books, and like for me and my little brother at the time, they were always buying us book and asking us to read them. I remember a time they were even like, you're gonna do summaries of them, and we were just
whoa.
bored by all the book. Yeah,
Mm,
we were bored until my mom went to France. Yes, I think she went to France and bought this book from like this woman that was writing books in the 18th century. Her name was La Comtesse de Ségur, and she wrote those books about like story kids, like kids story, like a
yeah.
kid living their lives, and like I don't know if you had that in English, but like there is this girl called Sophie or like Sophia, like the misadventure or something of Sophie, but it's pretty popular in the French speaking world.
Huh.
And like I didn't know there was a series about it when I was a kid, but I didn't know she was the author of that and she had wrote the original book. So when they gave us this book, they were so much more interesting than every time my mom was traveling a lot. At the time, we were like various new books about her, and she's the only author, like fictional author, I think I read,
Hmm.
except like comics. Like I actually sat down and read a whole book of 100 pages about stories that didn't happen.
Huh. Yeah, see, I think that's one thing that separates you from me is I never really got into any fictional stories or books. Like that was just not
Yeah,
something I did. And like my only real exposure to that was the stuff I had to read in school just as like assignments, you know. So like I had to read
yeah.
Shakespeare in school, things like that, you know. But um yeah, I had very few experiences with fictional stories growing up. I will say, on another note, just my sisters have probably been the single most powerful exposure I've had to just like popular media and also, uh, again, kind of like fictional cartoon style stories of different types. Then again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I was always kind of a cartoons kid, right? Because like I watched
Yeah.
so much SpongeBob, and that was totally me. Like I was big on that, and I used to watch Looney Tunes all the time, like so
I
much.
remember them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
really liked the
the,
Roadrunner stuff, even though it was kind of like slapstick. I was big on the Roadrunner and
oh,
Wile E. Coyote.
yeah. Is this how you
Yeah,
call them?
yeah, that's what I call them.
Coyote?
Like the coyote and the blue bird that runs really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot his name in French.
Oh,
Was
what's his
it?
name in French?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I know Coyote, it was just Coyote. In
Hmm.
French, the bird, he wasn't talking. He was just saying beep beep or something like
Yes,
that.
yes. He just goes beep beep. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's how I called him, but I'm pretty sure he had a name.
Yes. Pretty much the entire premise of the cartoon is the Roadrunner is running around all over the US highway system, and Wile E. Coyote is out here basically trying to kill him in any way he can, and it's usually really
Yeah,
convoluted and self-destructive. So
I
it's
love what you say.
so
How you
good.
say I love how you say the US highway system, and me when I was watching that, I had no idea where it was. I
Yeah,
was just like, it's a desert.
dude, if you like when you live here, it all makes sense because it's like, oh my gosh, this is just the U.S. interstate, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like
Dude,
Looney Tunes is so American, and I love it. I don't know.
I think
I
the
grew up
only
on it.
I think the first time I was aware that America existed was the day Obama got elected.
Mm.
That's when my mom was watching that on TV, and she
Oh
was like,
yeah,
"Wow, like there is this country, and like a black man has been elected as president for the first time, and I'm like, which country is that? Like the United States." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's cool."
hmm.
And I went back to sleep.
You
But
know,
I think that was the first. What?
well, continue. You think it was the
No, I
first
think
what?
that was the first time I actually heard United States and that there is a country called United States in the world.
Yeah, I mean, my knowledge of the Ivory Coast was always rather limited.
Yeah, I mean,
Here's the thing. I have always kind of been a maps guy. Like, in order to understand the things that I cared about, I had to know maps. So, like, if you wanted
mm-hmm.
me to draw you a map of Europe and, like, where all the countries are within that, I think I could actually do a fairly decent job of illustrating, like, okay, this is where Denmark is in relation to Germany, in relation to France, in relation to Belgium, in relation to Luxembourg, you know, on and on and on. I think I'd do a
Yeah,
pretty all right job with that. Or like talking about what's in
yeah.
Russia, where all the major cities are in Russia. You know, I could draw
Oh,
an okay map of Russia. Like,
Yeah.
I have a pretty good visualization of all the nations of the world in my head, except maybe Africa, right? Because not a lot of
Yeah.
Second World War stuff went on there, but I'm doing my best to catch up, right? I think I've got a maybe 60% chance of drawing Africa pretty well, and all the countries within it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, I know
Yeah.
what the continent looks like. That's not hard, but
Yeah.
figuring out what all the countries are inside of there, that's a little tricky for me. I got North Africa
Yeah.
down pat. I have no problems with that. South Africa, well, it's just South Africa, no problem there. But
Yeah.
everything in the middle starts to get fuzzy for me.
I'm pretty sure I can point out most countries in the world looking at a map. And I mean, one of the reasons is that, again, when I was a kid, our parents bought us these toys that was like a big uh, terrestrial globe.
Oh,
So, like the
that's
Earth,
nice.
and it
Yeah.
linked to like this computer where you had a stylus and you could click on any country and it would tell
Whoa.
you the capital of a country. It would play a song from that country.
That is
It would tell you,
crazy.
yeah, it would like do like two facts about this country and the name of the country.
Yeah.
And the song from Ivory Coast, I never heard that song. I was like, where did you
No.
pick
Oh,
that?
no.
Oh, what are you? Play me a song from Ivory Coast. I'm like, that's not, we didn't make that song. What is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, we're 4 times smaller than Texas, so of course we're not gonna search online. We're just they probably typed it on Google like song from Ivory Coast. I don't know what they found, but it wasn't the one.
Oh, shoot.
But it gave me a knowledge of like countries where everything was
You know,
generally.
this is so
Yeah.
vague, but a while ago I ran into something that I think was made in or talked about the Ivory Coast, and I forgot what it was, but I wanted to tell you about it at some point.
I mean,
That's
you can
it.
always find it back.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I'll make sure to tell you if I run across it again. But I remember seeing that and being like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I feel like I'm really starting to get some better views on all this stuff. It's been nice,
yeah.
right, talking to you about
I
Ivory Coast. I've
I know
been
like
really enjoying it, and I think I'm in a season of
yeah.
life where it's really fascinating to me to learn about it.
Yeah.
Like
There
what
are a
what
lot of
what your
fascinating
local
things.
history is there, and like again how the country is run, and just like what your
Around the
personal
world,
experience has been living there.
yeah. I would say about Ivory Coast, like, one of the main reason people actually know Ivory Coast was because it did not happen a lot in the US because the US don't like soccer that much. But recently when I went
Soccer.
to the rec center, yeah, the US doesn't like soccer, which baffles the US, but also baffles us because soccer is so global. But
Uh,
whatever.
you're
But
gonna
I
hate
went
me,
to
but
play
I don't
soccer.
get it.
Yeah, I know. I went to the rec center to play soccer, and I played with these people, and like they detected my accent, so they asked me like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from Ivory Coast," and they say like, "Oh, there is this player that was like from Chelsea, and like and I was like Didier Drogba, and like yes." So there is this soccer player that was extremely good. Not that,
Hmm.
I mean, he wasn't the best player to ever play soccer, but he was also super charismatic. And he was from Ivory Coast, and he played for that club, English club called Chelsea. And they went and won like the Champions League, which is like the biggest soccer cup you can win. And especially because of him and where he came from, everybody was like, "Where is he from?" Like with his accent, like he's from Ivory Coast, and everybody loved him, and we love him in our country as well.
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
he was the only reason someone who actually know Ivory Coast. If they watch soccer, they were like, oh, this player, and I'm like, yes, and
Yeah.
I actually met him.
But on another note, like you say, the only reason they know Ivory Coast, what it really comes down to is an awareness that such a country exists and that it has a
Yes,
name, but they don't know
yes,
anything more than that, right? I
yes,
mean, even I'm kind of guilty of that, where it's like my only real conceptions of the Ivory Coast are like little snippets of information I've heard through some of the local civil wars they've had there because I run in that kind of circle of knowledge. And then,
yeah.
uh, of course, I have a vague understanding of soccer and this guy on the team that you have informed me about. And then beyond that, it's just what you've told me. Like 90% of my knowledge of Ivory Coast has come from you.
Dude, I'm not even like mad at it because like I've met people here like in studio actually. Michael, we were talking for and like we were doing a video for the oxygen concentrator, and like our research was based in Nigeria,
Yes.
and so at some point he was because we had like kind of conflicting like the idea of the oxygen concentrator came from my uncle who is a surgeon in Ivory Coast,
Yes.
but like our research was based in Nigeria. So we were kind of
Oh,
trying to reconcile the two situation, right? So that it would sound like as if the thing was happening, on a much global scale. That he was like,
yes.
"What do we need to do that? Like, aren't you from Nigeria?" And I'm like, "No,
What?
I'm from Ivory Coast." And he was like, "But isn't Ivory Coast a region of Nigeria?" And I'm like, "No, there is a
Oh my
natural
gosh, are
country.
you kidding me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
There is a natural country that is called
Yeah.
Ivory Coast."
Okay. All right. All right. When I first met you, I did at least know that Ivory Coast was its own independent nation, and
Yes.
I don't think at any point has ever been part of Nigeria.
Yeah. Wait, it gets worse. So I go on my group chat, like, and I'm like, guys, you would
Oh
not believe what I
no.
just heard. Like, someone just thought, that Ivory Coast was a region of Nigeria,
Oh
and
no.
two people were like, "Isn't it?" Like, I
That's
thought you
so
were
bad.
Nigerian. I thought you were Nigerian. I'm like, no, it's an
No.
actual country. Like, is this a name that threw you off? Like,
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, I'm about to expose myself here because where's Tolu from?
Nigeria, I believe.
Okay, I thought he was from Nigeria. I feel really good about that.
Yes,
I think I was on the numbers.
yes. Unless I'm
Okay,
wrong, he's
I
pretty much
thought
from
that maybe
Nigeria.
like, wait a minute. If people thought Kadmiel was from Nigeria and he wasn't, what are the odds that Tolu isn't from Nigeria and I think he is?
No, it totally is. I mean, it's
Oh
much
my
common to meet a
gosh.
Nigerian, I
Yeah.
guess, here than it is to meet an Ivorian.
Yeah.
Again. But I wasn't bad. I was like, you know what? We are so small. I don't expect people to immediately be like, oh yes, Ivory Coast, yes. Heard a lot
Yeah.
about it.
Like the knowledge you have to have of the world map to catch that is pretty broad, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Like
And like
a lot of people really don't care enough to learn the world map.
they care if and that's something again, like because we had this famous soccer player coming from this country, that's why people know it. So I guess it's more about like if someone that or someone that everybody know come from there, people are gonna know, or people are gonna start being interested. And like you take Elon Musk, he's an actual South African.
Yeah,
As much as America would like to say that,
he's
because
American.
now he
He
is
ain't.
American. Yeah, the American entrepreneur Elon Musk, he spent the first 18 years of his life in South Africa.
Yeah.
he he's as South African that I mean it's like even if I was to live here for the next 30 years, you can't really take the Ivorian out of my or out of me.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be a time where like someone will be like, they'll be like, yes, he's pretty much American. Maybe he has a nationality or something, but He's from the Ivory Coast. That doesn't change.
Yeah, that's really interesting though, because then that begs the question: well, what is it that can't be taken out of you exactly? You know, or like what kind of spirit is that that says like you're from the Ivory Coast and nowhere else? You know, at least like fundamentally deep down. Because I also feel that about the United States, but I'm not sure
Mhm.
I've been able to like explain it very well yet or figure out exactly what it is that I'm talking about.
I mean, this is how I think about it, and it's only how I think about it. My family, for example, me and my little brother, I mean, my Ivan, my first brother that you met,
Yeah,
we
I like
spent,
him. He's
yes,
nice.
yes, we spent the first years of our lives in Ivory Coast. I left Ivory Coast when I was 18.
Yeah.
He left Ivory Coast when he was 15. So it's like the formative years of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's like something that's going to stick with you because your childhood sticks with you
Or
for,
like your first home, right?
yes, yes. You take my little sister. She left Ivory Coast when she was 8 years old.
Okay.
So in her mind right now, when I talk to her, she knows more about Spain. I mean, she still remember Ivory Coast a lot,
Yes.
but she knows more about Spain than she know about Ivory Coast in
Yeah.
general.
I'll bet it's a lot more conflicted, you know,
Yes,
because of
it's
that.
very conflicted because like my parents even struggled to make her speak French because she got used to Spanish.
Huh.
Now you go to my baby brother, who is now 5 years old. He left Ivory Coast when he was one.
Oh, wow.
And this dude has no recollection
Yeah.
of Ivory Coast
That
whatsoever.
is so
It,
interesting, too. Like
yes,
having a family where the home that you know is not what your other family members know. It's completely
yeah,
different. You know, like they can only imagine what your actual childhood was like. That's weird.
yeah. Like in the mind of this little boy, his life started in Spain.
Yeah.
As his earliest memory would be from Spain. There's just
Wow.
no. So in his mind, he was just born in Spain. He was just like. But he's also American. My baby brother is actually American. He was born in the U.S.
Seriously?
He's, yes, yes.
Wait. Okay. Which baby brother is the American?
The last one.
The last one? Okay.
Yes,
Okay. I see him.
he's
I see him.
he's an actual American.
Do you know
He's
where?
also aware of it. What?
Do you know where he was
He was
born?
born in New York.
New York? Oh my
Yes.
gosh, he's a New Yorker. Amazing. Wow.
Yes. We already have an American in the family, so I'm not gonna.
Gosh, you guys really are kind of multinational, aren't you? At
We
this
are
point,
very multinational.
you've got the American, you've got the Spaniard, you got the Ivorians.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like seeing that spectrum, like I can see my baby brother being like, I have nothing to do really with Ivory Coast, and I'll be
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, you kind of does because
Yeah, or like
you
your spirit isn't there anymore, really, you know.
yes. When for me, it really doesn't matter if I'm 30, I will still remember Ivory Coast because like the first 18 years of my life were there. Like all my childhood and teenage years and adolescence that was spent there.
Yeah.
So of course that sticks with you.
Well,
So
on another note, though, I do think you have this deeper residual desire to understand where your ancestors came from, you know? Or like
mhm,
where is the even more original birthplace than say where I was born, right? Because like I think about Switzerland not infrequently sometimes, just because again that's where a lot of the Myers came from, you know.
mhm,
And there's a part of me that's like, I don't mind that, right?
yeah,
Like I kind of like that a little bit. I think about it.
Swiss
I don't
people
know
like
what it is,
money,
but
but you
I
don't.
have a strange like desire to go there, and I don't know why. Just once or twice, see what's going on, you know. But
Swiss people
I'd
like
imagine your
money.
brother might also have a similar experience at some point where it's like, oh, like a lot of people in my
However,
family are from Ivory Coast. I kind of
yeah,
just want to go there sometime and see what's up, you know.
I've been
He's
in
got the
Switzerland.
Ivorian blood in him, right?
Yeah, Switzerland was a happy place from what I remember. But also, I was a kid and I had a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
And yes, it was. It looks very happy. I have a uncle there. I have uncles in Switzerland,
God.
Belgium, France, and
What is
England.
up with you guys? You're like all over the place.
You see my mindset now, like
Yeah, yeah.
my
You have a very
like how
international family, you know?
yes, how my mind was never stuck in that because I always had a knowledge that the world was bigger than when I was from
I think
where
that
I
is a
was from.
blessing, though.
Yes.
It's a good thing to not be stuck to one thing, like one nation.
Yeah, thanks, sir. But I was like, we only had to pay the plane tickets because we would sleep at their place. So
Mm,
that was fun. But we had Belgian friends. They were actually from Belgium. Like they were, like they were born in Belgium. They were white, and like when we went to Belgium, they were friends with my uncle from Belgium.
yeah.
So we went to visit them, and we seriously bonded together. Like my family and their family. Oh, what was the name again? Corneille, the Corneille. They
Ah,
really loved us to the point where like we slept at their place, and their children, they had a whole city of Lego. Like they were really deep into
yeah.
Lego. They had a
Nice.
whole city. Like we loved it so much, and we had so much fun with the kids that literally their parents, years later, like some years later, they decided to come to Ivory Coast and spend
Wow.
time with us.
All right, let's
Yes.
go. Yeah,
So the corner came to visit us this time, and like, oh my god, my parents pulled a prank on them, and
yeah,
that's so funny, but also so bad because they thought they were gonna find like a forest or like something like when you hear like underdeveloped country, which a lot of Ivory Coast is, but not all of it, you
yeah.
think of, oh my god, it's a downgrade from Belgium, or like it's a downgrade from the US,
In
or
a way,
like
it
it's
kind of
gonna.
isn't, right? Like, it's
No,
different.
as if you live in the capital where I live,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
it's a
exactly.
city.
Yeah, you go to the like that struck me when I went to Guatemala was like the capital. When you first land at the airport, it's nice, you know,
Yes.
and like you walk around town in the main city, it's nice, you know, like you
Yeah.
can't hardly tell a difference between it and like somewhere in the U.S. But
Yeah.
exponentially as you leave the capital, it suddenly becomes very like underdeveloped, I guess, right? Like
Yes.
there, you know, the trees aren't chopped down all the way to, you know,
I
like
agree.
Texas and back or something like that, you know.
Again, like if you go to Ohio or like some states in the United States, you think you're in the third world country.
Yeah, yeah, you know, like the how that kind of makes sense that the housing just becomes less developed as you move out from there. And
Yes.
then that, like, I think that point you made about like, oh, you go like to the middle of nowhere in Kansas, well, you're not gonna find really really nice houses is exactly, you know.
Yeah.
um I think you're gonna find a generally nicer housing out there because we do have
Yes,
a
definitely.
very supportive industrial complex, you know, for building these kinds of things. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is that it's not gonna be like a McMansion. Um,
Yeah. Like the poorest area in
yeah,
the US is richer than the poorest area in Ivory Coast.
yeah. Like in
That
some
is,
ways, it really isn't as different as you think it is, though. You know?
yeah. But again, like they were expecting to find like some rustic thing. And my parent knew that, and they got them out of the airport. And instead of going to our house, they went to the park near our house, and they were like, "So this is where we live, and you're gonna sleep in that tree, and you're gonna sleep in this tree over there, and we sleep in that tree over there."
Yeah.
And they bought it for a sec. My parents like made
You're
sure
kidding. You're
to
kidding.
pull that prank right to the point where they actually, for a second, they were like, "Wait, is this happening? Is
We're
it?"
sleeping in trees. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You gotta be joking with me. It's so bad.
They were like, "No, no, 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 chill. We actually have a house. There
Oh
is
my
AC and
goodness.
everything.
Like,
There's
what
Wi-Fi."
did you think? Did you believe we slept in trees? Like, how they have consumer electronics if they're sleeping in trees all the time? Oh my goodness. That's so
I
bad.
don't know how you pulled that prank. I don't know if it's the
I don't know
stress of coming down
either.
the airplane, or like maybe you feel lost when you go. I mean, no, I mean, me when I came to the US, of course I would have. I mean, if I asked you for direction and you were like, "You go there," I'm gonna go there because that was my first day.
Yeah.
I don't remember being. I remember being a little lost when I came first to the US, just by, again, like the first thing I noticed when I came off the airport and we were taking the taxi to SMU where I was going to learn English.
Yeah.
Like the first thing I noticed was like how large were the roads and
Yeah.
high, and like I was just like, wow, that's a big scale up from what I've been used to. Europe is more concentrated.
Yeah, the roads are
Ivory Coast,
narrower and they snake a lot
yes,
more, you know?
yes. And I was just looking at the roads and being like, that is insane how large these roads are.
Yeah.
But I, I, I do remember finding my way at the end. Like it was again like using Google Map and using the internet to kind of know where to go, and so it wasn't that agreed. Like, but like again, I wouldn't be if someone told me like you're gonna sleep in a tree. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. You know, I think
But that,
it's so good that you get a like you got a global perspective like that, and on another note it's just a good thing for anyone to have because I think it makes distinctions between one nation and another blur, you know, and you start to see kind of everyone as being on the same team in a weird way, you know,
yeah,
like you realize
I
how
agree.
similar you
Yes,
are really, from one place to another.
yes. Uh, I remember going to Holland. We drove there, and they built a real life Noah's Ark, like real scale. But
Wow.
the thing I remember the most from Holland was how clean it was. It's the cleanest country I've seen in my
Yeah,
life. I've been to 9 countries, and this is the cleanest I've seen.
I
It was
think that
insane
kind of makes me
how
uncomfortable though.
like it Nick, it didn't even look real. Like how there was no trash on
Oh
the ground,
man.
no matter where we were, just riding, walking, and there is no trash on the ground. How is there no trash on the ground? How is this like so pristine and so clean? Like, do they broom the highway? Like, what is this? There is no
Yeah.
dust. There is no like tires on the road. No dead animal on the road. Like, no matter where you go, it's just clean.
Yeah, is the entire country populated by cleaning staff or something? Like,
I absolutely don't know, but it's insane.
yeah,
It was insanely clean.
I've seen a lot of video from Holland just cuz again, well, doesn't matter
Yeah,
how I saw it, but point is I've seen a lot of video footage from that area and yeah, it is, at least from my impression, I'm not surprised it's clean like that as you say.
yeah. I don't know how these people do that.
Me neither.
Yeah, Ivory
Or like
Coast is
all the
not clean.
roads are so perfect, you know. all the
Yes,
ones I've seen.
it looked like they literally built the road yesterday. It was so like,
Yeah,
that nice asphalt color when the road
yeah,
is new.
and it's like
It
perfect
was
black.
like that.
Yeah,
Yes. And we were deep in the country. We weren't even to the capital or something. We were just going to something like in the country, in the countryside. And I'm
yeah,
just like, this is, it's so clean that it looks uncanny. Like
yes,
it's
yes,
it's
yes.
unsettling.
Okay, I have experienced that once before, but it wasn't with infrastructure, it was with nature. So, I don't know if you've
Whoa.
I don't know if you've ever been to like Washington, but like particularly the Seattle area, the landscape around there, like the trees and the hills and the water and the sky, it's all gorgeous. And like you walk on the grass, I've lived in Texas for a lot of my life. The grass here
Yeah,
when you walk on it, it doesn't feel comfortable. Like it's kind of
yeah.
like it feels like plastic almost, like it's so hardy and
Uh-huh.
designed to like fight back against the heat of the sun. You go to Washington and it's like walking on carpet.
Oh my God.
it's so lush and comfortable. It's like what the heck? Like I felt like I was in the Garden of Eden. It was so it was so uncanny. It felt wrong, like how
Yeah,
beautiful everything was all of the time. The pine
yeah,
trees and the sunset and the sky and the mountains and the haze that sets over it. It's strange. So
I
make
have
sure
to
you
say the
go there
same.
soon, just
I
to
will.
see what that looks like cuz it is strange.
Right now, I'm very interested in visiting other states if I
Yeah.
can during the summer. Like, go to another state and see what they have
Hey
and
man,
how
I've been all
different.
over so I can give you a little guide if
Oh,
you
I'll be
want.
glad. I'll be
Yeah.
glad. I especially one of my, I guess, like one of my, I want to go around the world. Like, I really do
Okay.
want to go to Asia someday.
Yeah.
But like,
Like go to
right
Japan or
now,
something.
yes, right now I'm
Yeah.
fascinated about like reaching the Pacific Ocean. I've seen the Atlantic Ocean. I've
Oh.
been in West Africa. I've been in Europe, a lot of Europe already.
Yeah.
I've been in Morocco. And now I'm in the US. So I've seen the Atlantic Ocean. I want to see the Pacific Ocean. So I want to go to the
Yeah.
West Coast one day. And like literally going to that ocean and maybe just put my feet in there. I'm gonna feel so fulfilled. I'm gonna be like, I've done half of the earth.
Yeah.
In 23 years, I've done half of the earth. And now I just have to go to Asia and go to the Indian Ocean. And I'm gonna be like, I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. Global man.
Yes. But talking about uncanny, like I've Spain gives me that same vibe. At least with city where my parents live. I am my baby brother. I sometimes I'm like almost scared he's not gonna be able to appreciate it because he was born into that.
Yeah.
The view from our balcony is insane. You have the
Yes.
mountains behind
Yes.
you, and you have the ocean in front of you, and you have like this nice. It's not real. Like I've gone to Spain, and I'm like, it's not real. I don't believe it's real.
Yeah, it feels
The
wrong, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
ocean is so blue and clean, and you can see deep inside it. Like you can
Yes.
see your feet in the ocean. And I went in that ocean. It was warm water. I'm like, this. You shouldn't live here. I was like telling my family, you shouldn't live here. You should spend
Yeah.
your holiday here, your summer, and leave so that you can appreciate it next summer. It's wrong that you live here, that you see
Yeah.
that every day.
Yeah, no, I have definitely felt that before. Uh,
Yeah.
the only time I ever felt that was Seattle, but it was a similar thing where I was standing where my uncle lives. So my uncle had a house up there. I'm not sure if they still have it, but they had a house in Seattle, and they had a house kind of up on a hill overlooking the bay and the mountains beyond the bay. Because basically, the bay comes in, it snakes down, and then it curves back out again. So when you look out
Oh.
across the bay, you see all these little houses going down to the waterfront gently.
Uh-huh.
Then you see the bay itself, and then across the bay you see the opposite shoreline with no houses on it and mountains. And then you see
Wow.
this like the beautiful sunset. I took a
Oh my
picture of
god.
it. I'm gonna have to find it and send it to you after this, but
Yo.
it was absurd. And I had no idea how they could afford to live in a place like that or like what was going on. But I was like, this is
Yeah.
criminal. Like people should not be allowed
Yeah.
to live here. I don't get it. Didn't
It's
make sense
I
to
think
me.
yeah,
Or
I
like
think
I would
I
feel uncomfortable living there. Like
no, I would
I
feel
would have to live in a worse place just because I can't do it. It feels wrong.
yeah, I'm sorry. If I live in Spain, I'll be 200 pounds. I'll be 300 pounds. Literally. I'll get fat so fast.
Yeah.
And just like relax because the environment is just relaxed.
Yeah,
Everybody's
like why
relaxing.
would you ever want to leave, you know?
Yeah. Stores owners literally take like nap. Like at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., you go to a store and they are taking naps. And they are allowed to do that. This is impossible. This is unheard of in America
Yeah. American
and in Africa.
mentality.
Yes, they take naps. Everybody's sleeping. Everybody like in the evening, people go out and they sit outside, and someone is playing violin in the streets, and you go to another street, someone is playing piano. You go to another street, someone is playing trombone. Like it's too happy. It's not
Yeah.
real. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's not real. There are wars in the world. Like, how are you
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, what kind of wonderland is this?
Yes, the
Man.
world is full of chaos and sadness. You all are too happy. It's not real. Like,
Yes.
it's
I'm glad that
honestly, I
I'm
do.
glad that you feel that sometimes. I don't know if I've
Yeah.
ever really talked to anyone about this and this feeling I've gotten before, but yeah.
Oh, what feeling?
Oh, just like the feeling that like it's so good it's wrong, or like it's so good that like I am uncomfortable, or like I feel like I'm blinding myself, you know?
Yeah. You know, there are a lot of good side to the US because I've lived in the Ivory Coast in a sense that make me appreciate it more.
Yeah.
like, like you know, in where I'm from, okay, where I'm from, they are healthier than American for sure. In the sense that fast food is more expensive than healthy food,
Yeah.
so it's hard to get fat in Ivory Coast. My dad thought he was fat until he came here and he was like, "Oh no, I'm thick, I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But you know, like for example, soft drinks. You gotta pay for that. Water is you can get as much water as you want, but soft drink you gotta pay for that, and it's premium price. So you get only one drink.
Yeah.
And I come here and my first breakfast, I see a fountain of it. And I'm like, am I allowed to
Yeah.
take twice? And they're like, you can take as many as you want. And I'm like, this is insane. Are you still telling me I can drink and come and refill my drink
Yeah.
as many times as
Yeah.
I want?
You buy it once and then you can just keep refilling it until you're gone.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like, yes. Or like buffet. I didn't see a lot of buffet in Ivory Coast. Unless you go to a fancy hotel. And I come to a Chinese buffet, like King's buffet, and I'm like, as long as you stay here, you can eat as much as you want. And I'm like, what is this? Is this a
Yeah.
trap? Like, is it? Are you gonna bill me something secretly that I'm not aware of? Because that seems too unreal to me that I pay $12 and I get to eat as much as I want until and you know that makes me appreciate it more because I'm just like I just wasn't used to it.
Yeah. But there's also kind of a warning there, like you said earlier, where it's like people do get fat off of that.
Yeah,
And so you like there's a freedom. Oh,
yeah.
it's the emergency hour.
Listen, it's third ward. Someone's dying every
Yeah, so,
second
someone
here.
got shot. Oh no.
Yeah, keep saying what you were saying.
Um, shoot, what was I saying? Something
You were
about.
talking about like there is kind of get fat, there is a
Oh yeah,
warning.
yeah. So you have a lot of freedom, right? But you have the freedom to destroy yourself here, basically. You know,
Yes.
and if you're not careful about how you use your freedoms, you can easily destroy yourself,
Oh yeah, that's true.
and that's
Yes.
kind of uncomfortable, right? I think that's increasingly becoming the norm, where it's like people are allowed to destroy themselves in more and more ways, you know. But I think that's natural as well, right?
Yes.
To
I
give
think the
people the
fear
freedom to
again is
do
like
that, you know.
yes, the fear is like I guess what I see here often is like getting used to excess.
Yeah,
Getting people
yeah,
getting used to excess. Like I am still all my friends that eat with me know that about me. I cannot order from a menu. Like I go to any restaurant, you go with me to a restaurant, I look at the menu and I'm lost. And I'm just looking at others' table, looking what looks good, and I'm like, hey, can you give me that? Because just I wasn't used to a menu where there's more than 20 items. 20 items is too many items.
yeah,
It is insane.
yeah,
I go to online menu first at most usually 15 items or 12 items.
yeah,
Like they are specializing. You go to a pizzeria, they do pizza. They do 10 types of pizza. That's all they sell. They don't do
yeah.
wings. They don't do salads.
Or
You want
breadsticks or
wing?
anything like
Yes.
that. Yeah,
You want wings? You go to the chicken. Like there is a place for that.
yeah. Or you want breadsticks? You go to the bakery.
Yes, you go to the bakery. You go. You want chocolate? You go to a chocolaterie. There is a place for everything. Never, except in America, have I been in a place where I find myself in a place where they do wings, they do pizza, they do bread, they do chocolate, they do, and you see the menu and it's like 45 items, and I'm just my brain just shuts down, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to order.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
usually like when I go to a place, if I can't decide, I just pick something random, you know.
See,
And I'm just like, I'll figure
see,
out what this is when I get it, you know.
listen. I've been to a Mexican, and my friends laugh about it. I went to a Mexican restaurant, and they allowed me. It's not their fault, but they allowed me to choose randomly from the menu.
Oh
I
no.
went to a Mexican restaurant and I ordered
Oh no.
ribs from a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah,
Ribs.
okay. All right. That is something you have to learn to do, which is if it's a Mexican restaurant, you order the Mexican food, right? Or if it's an Italian restaurant, you order their Italian food even if they give you the option to choose something different. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
It was atrocious. This ribs was not good. And I was surprised about it. And they were like, how
Uh-huh.
are you surprised? It's a Mexican restaurant. You order the faritas, the enchiladas. And I'm like, why did they put ribs? Since it's bad. It's a
Yeah,
bad. They don't know how to cook ribs.
I
Why is
think
this on the menu?
they do that because people are picky, you know, and it's like you know, okay, the group may agree they want to go to a Mexican restaurant, but someone might be like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." But it's okay. They
Yeah.
offer ribs, you know, for that one person who wants barbecue, so that
See,
you'll come
which the
anyways, right? It's market competition, right?
but yeah, again, that's something I've only seen in the US where they will
Yeah,
put like we will put an item on the menu we are not really great at, and you can find better option elsewhere, but we're gonna put it anyway.
yeah,
In Europe or in Ivory Coast, like we put things we are just great at. I've been in a restaurant. There's a famous restaurant in Ivory Coast, dude. They have a recipe. They cook like, oh my god, I don't know, remember the name of that fish, but it's specifically that fish. They have that
Yes.
one recipe, that way of cooking that fish.
Yes.
This is the only thing they cook. They put it
Like
with
one
French fries
one
if you
item
want.
on the
They put
menu.
yes.
Yeah.
This restaurant is crowded everywhere. Whenever my parents go to Ivory Coast, or like someone is coming like to give me thing from Ivory Coast, Nick, I literally tell them to buy fish from that place
Yeah.
and put it in a suitcase and bring it to me. I've done it 2 times already.
That
I've
is
done it
amazing.
twice already. Put it in a suitcase. The fish, just find a way to refrigerate it. Put it in a suitcase. Fly it to the US so that I can eat that fish.
That
It's
is
the
so
only thing.
good.
It's the
Oh,
only thing they do, and
I
they
really
do
want to
it
try that now.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. The woman that owned that place, she's known in the city. Like the city knows her. Like we,
Yeah.
we don't even know the name of the restaurant. We just know that woman. But like her recipe is like she found that way to cook that fish, and it's the only thing they sell, and they sell out everywhere. Like they you come in the evening and they don't have any fish anymore.
Yeah. Well, okay. I will
But
say there are places like that in the US that only sell like one item or only sell like 10 items, but I think it really doesn't feel like that because there are so many restaurants that specialize in nothing. Or like they do a few things really well and then they give you all of the other options to boot, that they can't
yes,
do well at all. Um
yes, I love this
yeah.
restaurant that we do brisket very good. That's all we have. We can do it with mashed potatoes. We can do it with green beans. We do the brisket. It's
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah, you need them to tell you what they do well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I ask. Like usually I just ask like the waitress, like, what should I order? Like what is popular here? What
Yeah.
people order?
Yeah, what do people like?
Yeah.
That's a
But that's
good way of
something
doing
like
it.
I still find it fascinating that, most of my American friends are used to it. That excess. That
Yeah.
they
I
find their way in.
Yeah, you find a way to live in it.
Yes, they find their way through a 40 item menu. Like they don't seem to be surprised, or like they are like, I know what I want, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of filter it. You learn to
Yeah, I
filter
don't
it.
know, man. I don't know. It's something. Maybe I'll learn it one day. Maybe I'll. But you listen, my baby brother, the last one, he's kind of used to that, and that's something I tend to believe it's bad because listen, he's born in his mind. He was born in Spain.
Yeah.
He wakes up to that landscape everywhere. He can go to the beach and swim in the nicest ocean there is in this world.
Yeah.
And that's where his life starts. There is no way he's going down.
Yeah, there's
There
no
is no way in
going
his
back.
mind.
There's no going up anymore. You're at the top.
Yes, there is no way in his mind that he's gonna settle for less than that, which is bad because the
Yes, that
world
is
is
bad.
absolutely different from where he is right now.
Yeah.
Most of the world is extremely different from where he lives. Like the landscape is right now, and I'm just like, how is he gonna see the world?
Yeah. I do
Like,
think that if you grow up in a place like that though, going out abroad doesn't have to make you necessarily bitter or like unsatisfied. It can make you appreciate where you grew up more, right?
yes,
Or like it can teach you
but
to appreciate it in a new way.
y-
But I do think it's harder to do that than to start from a place that's really bad and work your way up to a place that's really good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like like the expectations, right? Kind of like what you call like you go abroad and you expect all these things to be there that you left to be there, and
Yeah.
they are not. Like I know for a fact that me personally, I left Ivory Coast directly to come to the US, and I've faced many challenges,
Yeah.
like tons of challenges, like being close to even being homeless and stuff like that.
Yeah, we talked
And
about a few of them. For
yeah,
sure.
right. And like in a sense, I didn't come from a place of luxury. Like my life
Yeah.
was great in Ivory Coast. Like I was extremely happy
I
the
mean,
day I
there
left.
have
Like
been
a lot.
times where you were dirt poor, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
but yes, and it has shocked me at times to be like, wow, that really we went down here. Like,
Yeah.
but also I was like, that's how life is. Like I know for people that live through that, that are currently going through that, and I'm not special in the sense that I'm exempt from that, or like
Yes.
I should be exempt from that.
Yeah,
I
that's
knew
another
people that
really
were
good
also
lesson, right?
yeah, and but like I'm thinking, and again, I cannot predict it, of course, but I guess my fear was like if you are born like in the top already
Yeah.
and he comes to study in the US. If you live in Houston, third ward, where we recently heard twice the ambulance go, you're gonna be like, I'm not coming to Houston because I'm not gonna have the same lifestyle that I used to have. Even if your education is good, or like even if there is a great opportunity, like you become like risk adverse in a
Yeah.
sense.
You know,
And there is enough what?
well, what we finish your thought first. I don't want
No,
to
I
interrupt
mean
you there.
there is nothing worse to I guess self development and like becoming a better person than being risk adverse.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Um, let's see. I was gonna say just I think it's interesting that I kind of like Houston, at least in a conceptual way, more than Dallas. And I think the reason why is because it's kind of it has a little bit of everything I want. Like you can live in nice places in Houston, but you walk down the street and it immediately becomes not nice. Like it's
Yes.
amazing how much the spectrum of luxury to poverty fluctuates as you walk
Yes.
around Houston. It's crazy.
From
But I
one
love
street to
that
another.
because it keeps me aware, or like
Mhm.
I never feel totally uncomfortable in how perfect everything is, but I also don't feel uncomfortable in how awful everything is. I have a mixture, and I'm
Yeah.
reminded of both sides of the spectrum all the time. Even
You
as
know.
as I drive around town, I'm reminded of both sides. You know,
Yeah.
I will say though, on average, I think you see less of the beauty than the luxury. Or wait,
Yes.
yeah. Sorry, that wasn't quite
Yes.
it. You see less of the beauty than the poverty. That's it. Um,
Yes.
or like
You know, I
destruction
do.
in Houston, but you see it, or like it's amazing how green everything is down there. That's something I always loved about it. It's just
Yeah.
it's always green all the time, and that is something beautiful to me. But
Yes.
yeah,
Well, it's about 1:30, and I
uh,
have to leave at 3 for a
okay,
birthday party.
all right.
But it was nice catching up with you, man.
Yeah,
I
dude, this
hope
is great. I
we.
have confidence that we can do this. Every
Yes,
Wednesday
me
we're gonna
too.
make
Me
it
too.
happen. Like
Yes.
I don't think we have any issues talking like this. Especially if I
Yeah.
get a
It's
better
not the same,
room, we
man.
get the cameras going, get the mics.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yes, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, people, stay humble.
Stay humble.